Welcome to another vlog of Vietnam, and I am Varita here from the Sky Blue Bubblegum on Instagram, and let me walk you through about my day trip from Hanoi to Ninh Bình. The details about how I booked this trip is towards the end of the video, so ensure that you guys stay tuned. After we started our day, it took us 2 to 3 hours to reach our first stop, that is Hoa Lư, the ancient capital of Vietnam. This was the first capital during the Indochina times, and we cycled around these beautiful outskirts, and it was all covered by the trip itself. This is me entering the kingdom or temple of Hoa Lư. It's a beautiful pagoda right in the right side that you see. We were given a sarong before entering the temple because in Southeast Asian countries, temples are very sacred place and men or women need to cover their shoulders and knees before entering any sacred place. And there is no cost for renting this sarong out there. The guide that came with the bus told us a lot of history and a lot of stories about this ancient capital of Vietnam while we were inside the temple and before entering the premises, which was something that obviously I never knew. We took a few stops for photo ops and moved on to the next leg of cycling, which overall took somewhere around 2 to 3 hours with multiple stops in between. This would hands down be the best scenic route for cycling that I've ever taken, and obviously especially in Vietnam. We cycled our way to the next lunch point where thankfully there was vegetarian food available, and definitely we had to have some beer to taste. Spring rolls, peanuts, noodles, a lot of salad, cabbage, cucumber, but these papads are prawn papads, so ensure you don't eat if you are vegetarian and read the menu. Don't make mistake like I did. Next we moved on to the one of the most beautiful point number 2, that is Trang Ang river boating. This is outside the river, and I knew that this again is going to be a beautiful experience with the views that I encountered at the gate itself. This is inside, which is beautifully lit with the traditional Vietnamese lanterns all over the place. Again, this is the ticket point and tickets were included by the guide. We hopped onto the boat and started rowing one of the longest routes and exploring 3 caves above the river and below the mountains. There's a ducky here. So I am reiterating, please wear comfortable long clothes because it was extremely hot and all the activities on this day had a lot of sun exposure. So if you're not worried about the tan, just be wary of heat stroke if any. So on this boat, obviously, thankfully, the rower had an umbrella. So when needed, you could open it. That's the cave where we entered, the first cave. There were lights all around, and ensure you duck on time. Otherwise, you'll end up hurting yourself real bad. The lights were lit up at all the places and you could see everything nicely. This experience was extremely surreal because I have never seen something like this or experienced anything similar before ever in my life. The views again were outrageously gorgeous. I really wish we had taken this boat ride early in the morning when the sun was not at its peak. If you guys have a little more budget to spend, I would really advise you guys to leave from Hanoi the previous evening itself so that you are in Ninh Bình by night, and early in the morning the first thing you guys do is take this surreal landscapic boat ride. We spent nearly 2 to 3 hours on the boat ride and were really exhausted because of the heat and sitting for so long on the boat. If you want, you can take a shorter route so that you get done with this boat trip earlier. These are beautiful limestone caves that you see here, and exiting cave number 2. The view from here extremely surreal, like you can see. We saw a lot of flora and fauna and a lot of lotuses along the way, and we were literally in awe how beautiful this place could exist. So that fan is not just for video purpose, but it was extremely hot, and I purchased it outside the temple for 20,000 dong. Just look at this cave, it's so tiny and you have to enter from this place. Don't forget to duck down, okay? Otherwise you'll end up hurting yourself. Just look at this beautiful pagoda out of nowhere in middle of the river. The boat rower will take you around it. It is an extremely tiring job that he does, so ensure you guys are tipping him well. All three of us tipped him somewhere around 1,50,000 Vietnamese dong, and he seemed very happy with it, and trust me, it was worth the money. After the boat ride, we explored various kinds of offbeat ice cream flavors, and trust me, we were not at all disappointed. Coming to the last leg of our trip for the day, and we were not ready for this day to end because everything was gorgeous, everything was breathtakingly beautiful. But third stop was called Mua Caves. So Mua in Vietnamese means dancing. People here in ancient times used to gather for dance and celebration. You reach the Lion Dragon spot after a trek of 450 steps to be precise, but we were already exhausted from the day, so ensure you guys have already started working out if you want to go on this day trip. There were underground caves here as well where you could walk around, and we ended our day with this beautiful lotus farms around the backdrop of glorious Ninh Bình in all its beauty. So all the booking was taken care by my hotel receptionist from Hotel Veris. In case you guys are not, obviously you guys might not be staying in the same hotel, so you guys can DIY your trip by logging on either in Get Your Guide or Viator Travels. I will link those URLs in the description box below, and you can book your trips from those links. I would request you to use those links because at no additional cost to you, it would fetch me a little commission. So just think of thanking me in a way of, just exchange of this information probably. I hope you guys have liked this video. If you have any questions, please feel free to comment and ask me. I'll definitely reply to you guys. And as usual, don't forget to subscribe to my channel if you find these videos really helpful.